What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Uriah with the hub of fantasy football and my co-host Foley.
It is Foley, and Foley is the best. We were just talking about that off air.
Yeah, and I cut him off short and I was like, that's enough. But anyway, what is going on, Foley? How are you feeling?
We're in the dead zone of the NFL season. We're like a few weeks removed from the NFL draft, second wave of free agency. So far, not super interesting. But there have been a couple things. But the good news is best ball for Foley starts in like 2 weeks. We'll start doing best ball drafts throughout the summer, and that'll have the agent for the real football. Yeah.
I got you. Well, the crazy thing is, like you said, is the only thing we got to look forward to is scheduling tonight. I mean, I could care less.
Yeah, they make such a big deal out of the schedule release, and it's just such a nothing burger for me.
Yeah, I agree. So look, I think we have like a jam-packed, so let's kind of dive into this. We're going to go over draft picks and even dive into undrafted free agents. And we'll kind of just go over, little bits and pieces of everything and what we thought. So let's go with, I'm just going down the line. I know we always get mixed up, but let's go with Buffalo first.
Buffalo, okay. Fantasy-wise, I mean, they didn't even have a first-round pick. They traded out of the first round. Once again, I mean, I think I do like this pick in the fourth round. I was big on it.
Yeah. Have you seen the reports of him in minicamp so far?
He's killing it, right?
No, dropping balls left and right. I know. I hope it's good, but the only bad thing about Bell is he's a slot, right? You think so? Okay. I was worried that they would put him in the slot. I mean, then he's got to beat out Shakir, which I don't really know if that's a big feat or not, but I mean,
No, I projected him as an outside receiver. I mean, he came in right at 6 feet at 208 pounds. So
he's a bigger
he's
one.
not like a monster, but he's big enough. And looking at his spider chart, I mean, he's fast. He can jump. He's got everything you really want out of an outside receiver. I don't see any reason for him to be an inside guy, and that's what Buffalo needs, right? Like
absolutely.
more.
Yeah. The only undrafted free agent I saw was Mike Tomczak of Youngstown State. He's a wide receiver. I'm not really special teams trying to fill up a 90-man roster is what I'm thinking. Unless you have a brand new insight on Tomczak.
No, I don't. I have nothing. But I mean, just in general, Buffalo went very heavy, on defense,
and they should have, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree with it at all. They got Caleb Elam in the fourth. I think that's a good value there. Like they had a pretty good draft. It was just depending on what you think of TJ Parker, they had a pretty good draft. It was just so defense heavy, not much implication for fantasy.
Yeah, which is the only bad thing because it feels like besides the Keon Coleman debacle, it seems like that's all they've done is just go defense. So I would love to see some offense, but I get it.
Move on offense was acquiring DJ Moore.
Yeah, and I mean that does help, but. So let's move on to your favorite, Miami Dolphins.
Miami, they are an interesting one. I really like their draft.
I'm okay with it. I really am.
I'll just go down the list. Peyton Proctor in the first round, who I think they've already said they're going to play him at guard.
Yep.
Which I like that. I like if you're going to have him, if you're going to draft him that early, he's probably projects a little bit better as a guard. So shoring up the offensive line. They also, in the first round, traded Chris Johnson, the corner out of San Diego State. I know there's not fantasy relevance there, but I want our listeners to remember that probably 2 months ago, I did a mock draft. We did a mock draft.
Yes, we did.
I had Chris Johnson going in the first round. And at the time, that sounded crazy, but I wanted to make a statement of I really do like Chris Johnson and think he's a first round talent. At the time, nobody else was really saying that. And sure enough, the NFL agreed with me. He is a first-round talent. Jacob Rodriguez, linebacker, who I really like. I know there's other defensive players, but I didn't want to call them out. But where it gets really interesting is what they did in the third round with the two wide receivers they picked. Caleb Douglas out of Texas Tech, who could be good, and Chris Bell, who I think could be really good if he can recover from his injuries.
Yes. And that's what I was going to get into you with their total, tearing everything down to the studs. I kind of like it. I don't think, I know me and you kind of differ about Malik Washington, but other than that, I feel like they have nothing
Yeah,
on wide receiver ranks. So I feel like I really like Chris Bell. Caleb Douglas I'm okay with that. So I'm interested in it. So
yeah. And just so you know, I did a quick ranking of the rookies for fantasy, and I have Chris Bell number 11 of all rookies. And I would have him higher.
the injury, yes.
And that concern. And then I've got Caleb Douglas at 20. I'm kind of not crazy about the talent, but the
Yeah.
opportunities.
I think they might have been able to, swap it and get something different, but I mean, I'm not a GM, so I can't talk about that. But anyway, the only thing I saw, now I would like to say this. First of all, shout out to Le'Veon Moss and retiring. I guess he just wanted to get on an NFL team, walk on or whatever.
Le'Veon Moss is the kind of name that you expect to be just an incredible NFL player.
Yeah. But anyway, I would like to say watch out for Donovan McCulley, wide receiver for Michigan. Once again, if you're on the Miami team besides A-Chain, I'm sorry, but I would say watch out for him. I like him. All right.
Sure. For it.
Let's move on to New England. The only fantasy thing they really got was Jam Miller.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the more important thing is,
Well, you know me, I'm sticking towards skill players. I could care less about the trenches.
but it's still important for fantasy that they drafted Caleb Lomo, who is probably going to play guard this year and could eventually replace Morgan Moses at right tackle. But what this means is you have Will Campbell staying at left tackle and Caleb Lomu moving into left guard. And I think that's good news. I think if you look at what happened to Dre May at the end of last year,
Yeah.
the offensive line needed some reinforcements and they brought that in. So good pick from that perspective, even if I'm not crazy about Lomu, I like him more at guard. Yeah, Jam Miller, I don't care. A seventh round running back that I was not impressed with at all.
Yeah.
Don't care about it. I mean, Eli Raridan from Notre Dame, not the guy I would have picked necessarily, but the NFL is moving. This is going to be a theme throughout all these drafts. The NFL is moving towards more two tight end sets, and Eli Raridan could be who they pair with under Henry Moore this year. So he could catch some passes.
Well, I was going to bring that up. That's a good segue. What, I- when you were watching the draft, and not so much the first, well, for me, it was the first round, but not necessarily all the first round, but, as a whole, did you see some picks that were to you questionable?
Yeah, Ruben Bay was questionable.
Yeah. I mean, what was that about? And I feel like there were so many more than that.
Well, I mean, I agree to an extent, but I will say the NFL has gotten, as a whole, the NFL has gotten a lot better at drafting. There's a lot fewer crazy picks than there used to be when you had Bill Belichick taking Cole Strange in the first round when everyone else thought he was going to go in the third or fourth.
Yeah.
There's less of that. There's more of a hive mind than there used to be. People are sticking closer to the consensus board, which I could go on a rant about the consensus board and what actually is important.
So you're for the consensus.
Yeah, so
Okay.
there's a ton of data on this actually, and this is something I struggle to internalize. Right, like I have my convictions. Right, I come in here and I give you like how crazy I have my stuff ranked, but if I were in the draft room, I wouldn't just go on that. There's a ton of data that says if you're reaching very far past the consensus board, that player usually doesn't work out. And so there's a lot of value towards just not reaching and understanding there is wisdom of the crowd that actually does exist. And by the way, that extends to fantasy as well. Like one thing I am probably going to do this year, I'm going to be a little bit more conservative than I have in the past and not reach as far on someone because, hey, maybe I'm wrong and I should take in, I'm still going to have my guys, but I'm not going to take them 3 or 4 rounds earlier like I have in the past. So there is value in that. And I think in general, with the exception of like the Ty Simpson pick, better following consensus and not reaching.
Yeah, the Ty Simpson pick was, hmm. Yeah, sure. You'll probably disagree with what I have to say, but whatever. I hope not. So the only other thing, undrafted Miles Montgomery, UCF running back. So look, let's move on. This one was interesting. The New York Jets. So they took Omar Cooper, not my wide receiver, but what did you have him playing? Slot?
Yeah, I have him as power.
Okay. I did too. The one that confused me the most, which I think now look, Mason Taylor is not a all-pro tight end. I get that. But why explain to me why you would go with Sadiq at that? I wouldn't have, but why would you?
Yeah. So no buts. This is what I think about. I said this about the Lions several years ago and what turned out to be this incredible draft where the Lions drafted Jameer Gibbs and then Jack Campbell and then Brian Branch and then Sam Laporta. And it was like, I didn't love the order but if you just switched up the order, you'd love it. If it was like you took Brian Branch first and then you took Jameer Gibbs, and then you took Jack Campbell, and then you took Samuel Laporta. That's great. That's awesome. But you just started
how they did it.
It's the same thing with the Jets, where I think, and I know you don't like Omar Cooper as much as other people do, but I think if you said, okay, they took David Bailey at 2, Omar Cooper at 16, and Kenyon Sadiq at 30, that's awesome. Like, I think that's a good way to go about it. So I'm not going to quibble too much. And look, I love the Jets draft. I also love that they took D'Angelo Pons in the second. I think he's a really good corner. I love the Jets draft, but I do want to caveat it by saying it's hard not to love a team that had 3 first-round picks. If you have 3 first-round picks and I don't love it, that's a problem. But as far as the 2 tight end thing, you're right, Mason Graham. But it's what I said just a second ago, right? All of the NFL teams are moving towards having multiple tight ends on the field at once. So from that perspective, sure, have Sadiq and Graham on the field at the same time. And
Taylor.
my bad.
No, you're fine.
But when you don't, when Mason Taylor comes off the field, you're going to be in this world where it's probably Adonai Mitchell in the X role, Garrett Wilson in the Z, Omar Cooper in the slot, and Kenyon Sadiq at tight end. I think I know Mitchell is a really frustrating player, but all those guys on the field at once, that's hard to defend. Gino has some weapons to work with.
Maybe. I'm not about the Cooper pick, and I'll get over it, but I understand. Well, let me ask you, who was the tight end last year? Was Mason the good tight end? I know he was at like the beginning, but it seems like at the end they kind of fell off, which may have been more of a Jets issue.
Yeah, I think it was more of a Jets issue.
Okay.
He wasn't great. He was fine. He's not much of a blocker. Sadiq actually is a pretty good blocker, as I've talked about before. So I don't love him. I think he's a big risk. He's more of a else. But
so I do know you're more on this player, but is he Kyle Pitts 2.0?
Well, that's who people have compared to.
What do you think though? Okay, I don't either.
I don't see them as similar. Like Kyle Pitts to me was always like, this guy could just be an X wide receiver.
Yeah.
And I don't see that with Sadiq. He is not a clear outside wide receiver. I wouldn't want him out there. I've said it before. I think Sadiq is a running back, honestly.
Interesting. Yeah.
We're just moving more on the field. The true joker. That's how I want Sadiq to be used.
Okay. The one they have a couple of undrafted free agents, but the one pick I would say to watch out for would be Cade Klubnik.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think he is the best quarterback number 2 on the team. I know it's not saying a whole lot, but I'm just throwing that out there.
That, that actually is the one thing I'm mad at the Jets about is I really wanted the Jets to be the team to take Cole Payton. I thought Cole Payton was a great fit with Frank Reich and good situation with the weapons they've added. And unfortunately, they went with Klubnik.
Well,
Who, you know, I'm wrong. Maybe he's good.
well, there were better quarterbacks when they took him, so that's a whole nother issue. Let's let's move on to the Ravens. What did you think about the Ravens? I kind of low key liked it, except for the whole Adam Randall pick. That's garbage.
Yeah, yeah, I don't understand the Randall pick either. But I mean, 10th round, things start getting weird. I thought it was an interesting draft. Focusing on again, it's one of those where like I don't love the order that they took these players, but you end up with Venga Ioane, who you know a lot of people consider the best guard in the draft.
Yeah.
I like him bringing it on his slide. It's slid, but Ioane is a very very good guard kind of a strange fit with what they're trying to do in that offense, but fine. He's more of a gap power guard, and they run a lot more zone. They're talking about even more zone, but still, hey, you got a great guard. Fine. And then in the third and fourth round, they took Jacoby Lane and Elijah Surratt. I don't care for I don't care for Lane, but I think Surratt in the fourth round is great, and it fits that like can he be better than Rashad Bateman?
That's
what you have to ask.
That's what I was going to ask. I think he can be, but also at the same time, that's not saying a whole heck of a lot. I mean, let's be honest. Yeah.
That's work to clear though. Like that's they need an upgrade from Rashad Bateman.
Now,
can Surratt be that? I think so.
Yeah. Okay. The thing that where another problem I had, they took Randall, which whatever. He's not a running back, but whatever. Matt Hibner and Josh Cuevas. I get the two tight end set, but man, there were some better tight ends besides Cuevas where they took him or Hibner, blocking and receiving, both of them.
It's good news for Mark Andrews though.
Yeah. He's got a blocker, and now he can be the wide receiver tight end.
Yeah. Because I don't think either of these guys are really going to be major competition in terms of targets for him.
So here comes the undrafted free agent. What would you call this?
Yeah.
What? I don't even know what to say. Diego. Oh, Diego.
Yeah. Did you see the video of him taking snaps?
I did. What? I mean, you got to remember, though, the night before he was at the strip club. So keep that in mind.
They're like,
yeah,
they're coming at base level because he's so short.
I know. I was like, you're squinting your eyes down there. Who's that kid? Who's the ball boy? And it's Pavia. Let's move on to the Bengals. What did you think? I mean, Colby Young. Why? Jack Injuries. Oh, okay, but why?
Injuries in the 7th round is fine. I have no issue with Jack Injuries in the 7th round. But this was another one. They went very defense heavy, including their first round pick, which they spent on Sexy Dexy Lawrence.
Well, they did this last year too, and how'd that work out for them with Stewart?
Yeah, last year they drafted.
I thought they got Shamir. Yeah, Stewart.
Yeah, sure, Stewart.
Yeah, how'd that work out for them?
Well, that's the thing. This year they traded away their first round pick for Dexter Lawrence.
Yeah,
because
anyway, yeah,
I think they wanted to just stay away from the headache of that contract dispute that they had with Shamar Stewart.
Yeah,
and just let's just bring in a veteran. I think that was actually a great move. I think Dexter Lawrence is such a talented defensive tackle. He's worth the first. I'd rather him than honestly anyone. Like him versus Caleb Downs. Do you want Dexter Lawrence
or Caleb Downs
veteran contract or Caleb Downs on his rookie contract? I'll take Dexter Lawrence.
I got you.
Good move. Cassius Howell in the second, Corey Davis in the third. So they were just very defense heavy. Another one. I mean, we've talked about it. There aren't a ton of splashy offensive players this year, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I get that. So now here we go.
Their defense sucked, by the way. They needed to. Their offense is very, very good. Their defense is very, very bad. Spend all your resources.
Yes, I agree. Now look, I don't know the whole Browns organization like James probably does, But let me tell you something. Look, look, they are killing drafts, dude. Killing the last two.
Well, listen, let's be really, really real. The GM, whose name I'm blanking on,
I know I can't think
he
of
has
him.
been, huh?
I couldn't think of him either.
Yeah, I'm blanking on his name, but he has been fantastic outside of making the worst move in NFL history.
He's making up for it though. He's trying. He's trying.
Unwanted trade, the worst trade,
Ever.
worst move period in NFL history. But everything outside of that has been so good, and this is my favorite draft of the year. Now, again, he had 2 first-round picks. That helps him, and 2 second-round picks.
That
Even
helps.
still, even accounting for that, he killed it. This
He
is
did.
such a great draft.
I I love Denzel Boston. Love
Yeah,
Casey. You know that. The only problem I had was the whole Taylor Green, which I get. I do get. Take your shot, but I wouldn't have. But I understand.
yeah. So let's break it down from the top. Spencer Fano at number 9 overall.
Great
My
pick.
tackle one in the draft.
Great pick.
To me, he was even better than Francis Malienoa or any of the rest. He's the best tackle, and yeah, they get him at 9 overall. That's incredible.
I never would
He's
have thought he would have slid that far.
No, shore up the offensive line. They need the help. And then they go back to back at wide receiver. And this is another one where if you just flipped them for me, I'd like it more, but whatever.
I get it.
Messi Concepcion, you love. I love his potential,
Yeah.
but I'm very concerned about his ball skills. But you back that up with Denzel Boston, who I do love. One of those two is going to shine.
I agree. Let me ask you this. So out of their wide receivers, who has what about Isaiah Bond? You know what about these other guys? Are you worried about that, or are you just going to take whatever the depth chart ends up at?
Look, man, I'm out on everyone but these two.
Okay.
I, fully out. I don't care about Fury or any of them. It is Concepcion or Boston. Those are the only Browns wide receivers I care about here. And I don't know which of them. I don't think they'll both break out, but one of them will. And I mean, Concepcion's going to have more opportunities just because they took him first. They clearly like him more. But I like Boston more, so to me, it's a bit of a coin flip. And then, by the way, I know this isn't fantasy relevant, but Emmanuel McNeil Warren, a safety,
love that pick.
So good. I think this is a great. Parker Brailsford at center, I think, is a fine pick. Austin Barber out of Florida is a fine offensive line pick. This is Joe Royer as a tight end.
I like that.
I think these are all good picks. And Taylor Green, I'm mad because I wanted Taylor Green to go to Baltimore. I thought he should be Lamar Jackson's backup. I've said that all along. That's what he was born to be. But Cleveland is the team that years ago drafted the Terrell Pryor and turned him into a wide receiver. And so maybe that's the same thing they're going to end up doing with Taylor Green. I don't know. But they have such an interesting collection of quarterbacks now. They still have Deshaun Watson. They've got Shador Sanders. They got the lefty from Oregon last year.
Gabriel.
You don't Gabriel. And now they got Taylor Green. Somebody's got to be good, right?
You would think. And look, man, which we will get in when we start, going through the things. But I mean, man, the right now, the people between Deshaun Watson, is who everybody's, well, not him, but the coaching staff's leaning toward, and everybody else is like,
yeah.
I mean, why are we not putting Shador out there after last year? So this battle is going to be crazy.
I mean, look, the two last things I'll say on Cleveland. Number one is there is a part of me that's interested. Deshaun Watson, terrible human being, don't get me wrong, but he was so bad in Cleveland, and I mean so bad.
I know.
That was always with Stefanski. And you have to wonder, did he just never work well with Stefanski? And if he's not going to be as good as he was in Houston. We know that.
Yeah.
But if he's just somewhere in between what he has been in Cleveland and what he was in Houston, just some in the middle, that's by far the best quarterback on this roster.
I know. And that's the scary part. I just, as a just a basic NFL fan, I don't know if I can root for that.
Yeah, I'm not rooting for it.
I mean,
weird. I like Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I mean,
love it. Be a huge Watson fan.
All right.
Last thing though on Cleveland, they did get. I mean, how are we not talking about this more? They got Justin Jefferson.
What?
Yeah, they got Justin Jefferson.
Shut up.
Linebacker out of Alabama in the fifth round.
He totally, I was like, I did not see this. Oh my God. Okay. Yeah. Let's move on. Let's go to probably one of the stinkiest teams in the draft this year, Pittsburgh. Why? 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 What? I mean, I don't even know if I want to talk about it. And did you hear that Drew Aller is the only quarterback at camp right now, and he's taking all the reps?
Somebody's got to do it. I mean,
Oh wow.
look, I've talked about Drew Aller before. I've been talking about it for a couple of years at this point. Where I remember watching a Penn State Notre Dame game. It was the championship, right? That was the or no. Was it champ? No. I remember watching a Penn State. It was Penn State Notre Dame. It was Drew Aller versus Sam Hartman, and I was just so disgusted by the quarterback play. And this was when I went on to find out people really loved Drew Aller at the time. That year, he was being talked about as like a future first round pick. And I was like, this guy's awful. This guy can't throw the football. And nothing he's done since has changed my mind on that. I don't believe in Drew Aller. And some people think we got.
No, I don't either. It's for some reason I don't know why people have latched on to the 5-star recruit thing, and it's like that has carried him his whole collegiate career. And
Yeah.
how? But anyway, that's a whole nother story.
The Max High Nature tackle out of Arizona State, fine. Jennings Dunker, another tackle, fine. I don't even know anything about this Iowa wide receiver they drafted, Caden Wetchen. They took him in the 4th round. I've never heard of this guy.
I didn't even write him down, so that tells you what I think of him.
But they did get 2 guys that I do like. In the 5th round, they took Indiana tight end Riley Nowakowski, who you know I love.
Terrible pick, but go ahead.
I mean, they have so many tight ends, though. It's hard to say what's going to happen. And then, look, this is probably not going to work out, but everyone.
If you say Eli, I'm gonna slap you. Coming through the screen.
Okay. Eli Heidenreich.
Whatever.
You know, his measurables, he has the exact same measurables as guess who?
It doesn't matter.
Christian McCaffrey.
So, so what you're saying is Eli is Christian McCaffrey. Is that what you're saying?
He is stylistically similar to Christian McCaffrey. I'm not saying he is nearly as good as Christian McCaffrey because he's obviously not, but he is stylistically similar to Christian McCaffrey. And I think if he played anywhere but Navy, he would have gotten drafted higher than he did.
No.
Service academies just don't really produce NFL players. And so I think that really hurt his stock.
Don't think that hurt his stock. I mean,
great service, Eli.
I mean, was it Kane Udo or whatever that was there too? And look how awesome he was.
Yeah, Service Academy, it usually doesn't work out with Service Academy guys.
All right, let's look at another offensive stinker, the Houston Texans. What are we doing? Lewis Bond, Marlon Klein. Why?
Yeah, they kind of, I mean, look, I thought they had the biggest reach of the first round, other than maybe the Rams with Keelan Rutledge. I'm not crazy about Rutledge. I didn't see him as a first round guard at all.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm wrong.
No, I don't think. I don't think you are. I mean, it's really a stinky. Their whole draft, I thought, was stinky.
I love Caden McDonald. I thought Caden McDonald should have gone in the first round. They get him early on in the second. I'm cool with that. Defensive tackle out of Ohio State. They already have such an awesome defensive line. Add him to it. I think that's awesome. I also am a huge fan of safety Kamari Ramsey out of USC. So I like that pick a lot. I can care less about the rest of it.
All right, let's move on to the Colts. Now, I will say this. I'm very interested in the Colts draft. They got Deion Burks. I know you don't care about.
No.
I'm very interested. And Seth McGowan. I know you don't care about him either. Very interested in those two at that play at Indianapolis.
I mean, look, those are both seventh round picks, which means I am fine with them taking the shots on those two guys. But it also means they're probably not going to give those two guys many opportunities. I think this was great news for Jonathan Taylor that
Oh yeah,
mind, they're not about to spell his workload or anything.
yeah. Uh, Go
I
ahead.
mean, look, defensive picks were fine. CJ Allen, AJ Olsen, I'm good with those picks.
All right, Jacksonville.
Worst draft.
Yes, I was just about to say it, but feel free to elaborate because I'm looking at a bunch of notes.
I'll let you go first. I don't want to dominate the conversation.
No, I mean, I don't. There's nobody like. Once again, I just did skill players, and there's nobody that I even want to with that, including Nate Boca Hicker or however you say his name. I could care less.
Walker position players. Yeah, that was their first pick of the draft was Nate Orkircher in the second round. Again, prime example of more tight ends are getting drafted. Orkircher is strictly a blocking tight end. I wouldn't have taken him that high, but whatever. The only pick that I liked for Jacksonville was they stopped the slide on Emmanuel Cragnon in the late in the third round. Most people thought he was going to go early second. I had him as a first round talent. The fact that you get him in the 24th pick of the third round, I think he's awesome. I think he's a very good zone blocking guard and a mauler. He is big, but that's the only pick I like. Tanner Craziel, another tight end they took.
Hey, hey, I like that pick. I really do. I'm telling you, look, if you're doing a dynasty league, pick him up late. I did say late, but pick him up.
Fair enough. They're clearly just in their own world and how they're picking their players, though. And I don't vibe with it. Maybe they'll turn out to be absolute geniuses, but I'm not vibing with this.
No, I mean, like I said, Nate Boa Hicker, or however you say his name, in the second round, please. I mean, come on.
Yeah. The career, again, this is just how much of a blocker he was in his career. That's just his last season.
Huh.
His career, he had 400 yards.
Terrible. Terrible. All right, let's move on to Tennessee. Am I doing right? No, that's not right.
Yeah, that's the last AFC South team.
All right, Tennessee. I like Tennessee. I really did. Cardell Tate, I think I think that's a great pick. Falk was a good pick. I love Singleton in the fifth. And let's see, where am I at? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, let's start with Tate. You and I both love Cornell Tate. I didn't think Tennessee would go that route, but I'm glad they did.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to be really, really good. He is my number 2 overall rookie this year for fantasy. I mean, we saw who was the rookie wide receiver last year? Not the one out of Stanford, but the other one for Tennessee.
Oh, drawing a blank. I know what you're talking about.
I was telling Uriah before we started airing. I'm at this point in the year where I've just forgotten everybody's names.
Io Manor? No, that was Stanford.
Stanford. And then there was another one. But even Io Manor, too. Like, we saw Io Manor be productive at times, but then there was this other rookie who kind of took over in the second.
You talking about Dickey? Dickey, yeah.
So, if those guys can be productive, Cornell Tate can absolutely be productive, assuming Cam Ward doesn't just suck. And Cam Ward might just suck. I don't like Cam Ward, but I do like Brian Daboll as an offensive coordinator. Whatever about him as a head coach,
Yeah.
I think he's a talent coordinator. I think you put Tate out there. Calvin Ridley can now be your number 2, which is what he should be.
Yeah.
And you got your boy Wan'Dale Robinson in the slot. I kind of like this setup. Now, other people are going to say Ridley's the 1, Tate is the 2, whatever. I like Tate. I don't think he's just.
Yeah.
You know, whatever you think about Nick Singleton, he's the only one who does have a chance to take over the backfield besides Tony Pollard. I think it's good news for Tony Pollard. I think this remains Tony Pollard's backfield. Maybe the other guy makes.
I would say watch how he comes back from the injury, and I do see a split backfield in the future if everything goes perfect. Like I said, I like.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the Titans also. So, uh,
Yeah.
all right. Let's go on to, and I'm going to be so out of order. So I'm sorry. Let's see. Denver. Am I even close?
Follow your. I understand the system we're following.
All right. Look,
See what?
I do like, okay. I love Jonah Coleman. I don't think he has a clear path, which bothers me. I mean, we've talked about this before. I don't care about your draft capital. If you don't have a clear path, it's not really good news unless something happens. So I'm worried about that. I do like him. I do love the Justin Jolly pick. I think that's a really good pick. And that's really all I got on them. Not a whole lot.
I agree with everything you said. I just want to sound the alarms though, because I already see fantasy people hyping up Jonah Coleman. They're like, he's going to take over the backfield. And he's going to be. We do this every year with Denver.
Absolutely, every year. I mean, J.K. Dobbins, R.J. Harvey. I mean, we can go all the way back. I mean, it's the same thing since Terrell Davis, which he survived, but after that, so
I mean, it's a Sean Payton thing more than a Denver thing, but yeah, just don't take the bait on these guys. You're gonna get burned every time.
yes,
So I know you like Coleman.
I do, but like I said, I don't like him on that team. I don't see a clear path. Let's move on to Kansas City. Now, I I think we all know how we all feel about Kansas City, but that's a big but. I like their draft. I really did. Delaney, Peter Woods, even Emmett Johnson, and your week one starter, the Nussmeier. Love it.
Yeah. So from the top, yes, Mansour Delane, I adore. I think he's the only corner I like more than Chris Johnson. He's so good. I'm all for that pick. Natural replacement to Trent McDuffie, who they traded away. Peter Woods, the defensive tackle, fine. R. Mason Thomas, fine. But then, yeah, Emmett Johnson, I don't see it really. I think it's just another body in a backfield that's really boring. Cyrus Allen is a head scratcher for that to be the wide receiver that they draft when they really need, as we said with other people, they need a big bodied X receiver, and they draft 5'11", 180 pounds Cyrus Allen out of Cincinnati.
I know.
It's like he's time. He's fast. He's quick, I should say. Not even fast. He's quick, but that's just not the kind of receiver that they need. And Nussmeier, I mean, look, I don't. You love Nussmeier.
I do.
I don't think he's going to be week one starter. I think Mahomes will be back in time, but maybe they trot him out for a couple games over the course of the next 2 years and could trade him for a 4th round pick in the future.
Shame on you. Shame. All right, let's move on to the Cardinals, Arizona.
Yeah.
I like Jeremiah Love, but you needed so much more than Jeremiah Love. Why throw all, why, Foley, why did they throw all their eggs in one basket with Jeremiah Love? Do you have an answer?
Because they're stupid. Look, I also love Jeremiah Love. I think I liked him more than you did when we talked through running backs.
No, he's the number one offensive player in the draft.
Yeah. But you just can't take a running back that high. I mean, that's the last time someone got taken that high was Ezekiel Elliott.
Yep.
I don't think it was a smart move when they did it. And by the way, R.I.P. Tyler Algier, who finally gets away from Bijan, gets to be his own man, and then they draft Jeremiah Love, number 4.
I know. And look, Algier is a above average running back.
I agree.
I mean, if you we'll just say if you take him and put him on the Titans, I would say he was the number one running back there, ahead of Pollard. I know it's debatable, but
I agree. I would say so too.
But I just, why, man? It's why.
I mean, look, I don't think Arizona's offensive line is good enough yet to justify taking it back that high. You've got to have your O-line situated first before you draft a running back to as high. And so I think he's talented. Jeremiah Love is my number one fantasy rookie. He should be the highest drafted rookie in fantasy this year. But it's kind of like the thing with Genty last year, and I think Love is more talented than Genty.
Yeah.
But he's not gonna be behind an amazing offensive
Look,
line. And up like Genty, he's gonna backfield more. Algier is going to get carries.
yes, this is the equivalent of what was his name? Carr's brother, who went to Houston, who like broke the record for sacks. David Carr. This is the equivalent, except it's a running back. Anyway, I don't know.
Jeremiah Love is a better running back than David Carr was a quarterback.
Oh, I'm not. What I'm saying is they took David Carr when they should have invested in other things. Yeah. So, I mean, look, if David Carr would have had a competent line, just heartbeats on the line, it probably would have been a different story than what had happened with it. So,
if David Carr had had a decent offensive line, he would have been as good as Derek Carr.
I can get behind that. I can. Look, anyway, the Carr brothers were not bad. Let's move on to, I don't even want to talk about this team, but the Oakland Raiders. Huh?
The Oakland Raiders?
What did I say? Las Vegas Raiders. Excuse me. Las Vegas Raiders. I'm stuck. Anyway.
Are you? No,
they just went under that. All right, look. I'm gonna say this.
St. Louis Rams. And the San Diego Chargers.
That made me chuckle, Foley. What? You can stop. It's getting old now. Or the Green Bay Packers.
NFL teams all day. That could be a whole episode.
Look.
Well, look.
The only good pick they had was Mike Washington Jr. in the 4th. Prove me wrong.
We will prove you wrong when Fernando Mendoza is a top 16 quarterback this year.
Fernando, mark it. Put it on the tape right here, right now. Mendoza, 19.
I think he's top 16, so I'll take yes from that action.
Oh, we're going look. This year we will introduce the betting scheme. We will have some bets that we will keep track of the whole year.
We had a bet.
I know.
I paid it off.
You did pay it off, but I'm talking about we will have multiple bets because we sometimes disagree about players.
We do.
So
we do. And we have accountability for those. Look, everyone knew Mendoza was going number 1 overall to the Raiders. It's not a surprise. I agree with you on Mike Washington. I think it's a decent pick. I think it's bad news for Ashton Genty. I think Washington will get some carries. If you think about Clint Kubiak coming in, and he just had this heavy rotation with, what's his name from Kansas City, who just went to Kansas City, the running back, Zach Charbonnet and Ken Walker. Rotation between Zach Charbonnet and Ken Walker. I think we're going to have more of that here. I mean, not that extreme, but Genty will rotate with Mike Washington. I really think so.
I would love that. I really would.
Now, I will say I love so much this pick, and I hope they use it in the right way. Trey Zoon out of Texas A&M. I think that guy is a tackle, and I hope they use him as a tackle. A lot of people see him as a center. I love Jackson Powers down there. They already have a center, and then largely used him at guard. I want JPJ at center, and I want Trey Zoon at tackle, and that would just make me so happy. We'll see what happens. But I think Trey Zoon is a great pick. He's one of the best pure pass protectors in the draft.
Look, I will say, to me, value-wise, the best pick in the draft was Jermod McCoy. How he fell to the 4th round, I'm boggled by that one.
Injury concerns.
I mean, I get that, but you can mark that up with Caleb Downs and everybody else. With Caleb Downs.
With you, I wasn't.
Caleb Downs with his. I was just going to say Caleb Downs with his one knee, but go ahead.
I wasn't as high on McCoy as a lot of people were, but in the 4th round, absolutely, sprint to the podium and take him. He's worth the shot.
All right, let's move on to another. First 2 rounds, I was so hyped. The Chargers. I thought their first two picks were great, and then we go to Brennan Thompson, and it just goes downhill the rest of the draft. Why, Foley? Why? Why do we let these GMs draft these people? Anyway,
Who's the offensive coordinator for the Chargers? You're right.
I know who it is. I mean, I know he's looking for Tyreek Hill 2.0, 3.0, whatever, but come on, man.
Mike McDaniel loves fast wide receivers or just fast players in general. Brennan Thompson is fast.
Do you think,
And that's fourth round pick.
question, do you think, and nobody's going to hear this, but do you think Mike McDaniels likes Tyreek Hill because he likes the, never mind. I'll be quiet. Anyway, never mind.
Yeah.
It was bad. Never mind. I thought it through my head. Never mind. I'll just say Mike McDaniels likes speed.
He does like speed. He does like speed.
And what's in Miami? Speed. Speed.
Going to respect the fact that is a man in recovery.
I know. I thought about it and I was like, ooh, I shouldn't do that.
You stopped yourself and then let it out anyways.
I know. It's terrible.
But yeah, he likes these fast players. Brennan Thompson is fast, and he's, we've talked about it before. I don't think Brennan Thompson is a great NFL wide receiver, but he does bring a different skill set than what the Chargers already have, right?
Yeah.
They don't have anyone who is particularly fast. Little white boy that everyone loves, Lap McConkey, isn't fast. Quentin Johnson is actually not that fast. Keenan Allen is not at all fast, so he plays for them this year. So Brennan Thompson does bring a separator, and he's going to be one of those guys who could be interesting for best ball, but you don't want him in regular fantasy. He's going to have 1 or 2 games a year where he has 30 points because he just gets behind the defense a couple of times and lights them up. But you're not going to know what games those are going to be.
Yeah, I agree. Who am I going after now? Sorry. Let's go Tampa Bay. I know I'm way off, but
we've really fallen apart on that. I was following your order.
Well, give me somebody. I'm in the weeds over here.
Tampa Bay.
All right, Tampa Bay. Love Ruben Bain. I'm kind of out on Trotter, but I see it. Love Ted Hurst, but now we're back in another crowded backfield, and it's not going to help him. Who else you got?
Yeah, I mean, Keontae Scott's a good slot corner, I would say. Bain is the steal of the draft.
Yeah.
Bain is, as I've said before, too powerful to fail. The fact that he slides to, 14, 15 overall is absurd. He should be great. I'm with you. I'm not a big fan of Josiah Trotter. Ted Hurst is like, they lose Mike Evans and they replace him with Ted Hurst. So he's an interesting prospect. It's going to be hard to trust anyone except for maybe Emeka Egbuka in that wide receiver room this year. But you might take a very late round flyer, like an 18th round flyer on Ted Hurst.
I just think he's going to get lost in that whole thing. You got anybody else?
No, that's it. They weren't. The Bain pick was great. It's not particularly interesting beyond that.
All right, let's once again staying in there. We'll go with New Orleans. Once again, that number 8 pick. Yeah, let's do it. And then what happened to me? Yeah, I know. I'm just, Oscar Delp is not an NFL tight end, but whatever. Go ahead.
I'm with you on that. Yeah, no, I mean they took a lot of players that I liked. Well, they took 2 wide receivers that I really, really like.
Don't say Brown. Don't say Brown. I know you like Lance, but
yeah, Lance and Tyson. So, but here's my concern. I love Jordan Tyson. I think I've got him as like the 4th best rookie overall for fantasy this year. But there is a big but. He is much riskier because of Chris Olave and because Jordan Tyson is going to be the X, and Kellen Moore, the offenses he runs, usually it's either it's the slot receiver and or the Z that gets the most production.
Yeah.
And the X tends to just be sacrificed. Tyson's going to be the X. Chris Olave is going to be the Z, moving into the slot sometimes, and other times Devon Bailey's going to play the slot. That concerns me a little bit about just how things shake out for Tyson. But I think he's a phenomenal football player. And I think Bryce Lance is another phenomenal football player who is a natural X. I don't think Bryce Lance is going to see the field much.
Okay, yeah. I don't either. He's not that good. Anyway.
Yeah, for recent Caroline, we don't think Bryce Lance will see the field much, but we agree that he won't. I love Bryce Lance, and it's a good pick. It's just not good for fantasy.
I get it. I get you.
I think this was a good draft for Tyler Shuck.
Yes, I agree with that. He has tools. I'll say that. Let's go on to Carolina. Hmm. Hmm. Huh. Uh, there's only one person I like on this draft, so I like Chris. Yeah, I do. I think that was a good pick, 3rd round, but other than that, I got nothing, man. Not even Freeland.
I don't like Monroe Freeling.
I don't either.
I don't think he's NFL ready, and I don't think I've talked before about my concerns with Chris Brazzell. Maybe in the 3rd round, that's fine. It's fine to take the risk, but yeah, I hate to say it because I like some of the people in the front office of Carolina, but I just don't see this as a great draft. You know who my favorite pick of this draft is actually? Zakee Wheatley, safety out of Penn State in the 5th round.
Okay, you go, guy. You go. I don't know that guy. I got you.
Above average pick for me.
All right. Here comes another one. Atlanta. What are we doing in Atlanta? Did they help any part of the offense or defense on this draft? Maybe.
It depends. It just depends on what you think about these guys, right? Like I'm not big on Avion Terrell. A lot of people like Avion Terrell.
I'm not even
big on it. Now, I do like the idea of putting him in there with his brother. I think that can only be a positive thing. His brother is AJ Terrell.
Yes,
very good.
All Pro. Yeah.
And put a team. Hey, maybe that does something. Maybe there's chemistry, like when the McCourty brothers played together. Zachariah Branch, I thought was kind of a not super exciting. Like I understand why some people like him, but I personally wasn't. He's the obvious Ray McLeod replacement, except it's a different offensive system now.
Oh goodness.
I would be more interested in Branch if it were still the old coaches.
Yeah.
Because I would say, okay, you plug into the Ray McLeod role, and that's interesting. But under Stefanski, it doesn't really do much for me. I don't love complete non-football thing with him, though. He's already getting into legal trouble in Georgia, and you're keeping him in Georgia. I don't love that as a process.
Yep.
If someone's going to be drafted, I normally like keeping college players near, I like Falcons drafting Georgia players. I like Browns drafting Ohio State players. I'm a sucker for that kind of thing normally. But with someone like Branch, who already has legal issues in the state of Georgia, I would want to get him out of the state of Georgia.
Yeah.
Harold Perkins, though, like some people really love Harold Perkins.
I do. I do.
I thought you would. He's a question mark for me. He's a mystery box of what he can be. So
I don't think he got helped where he drafted at. What team he went with.
That's fair.
All right, let's see. I know I'm going to mess you up with it. Washington. Let's go with Washington. I like to keep you on your toes. I like Sonny Styles. Not crazy about him. I like him though. Antonio Williams, no, that's me. I love Katron Allen in the 6. I didn't like him as far as I wasn't crazy about him, but give me him in the 6. I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about Katron Allen first, then I'll bounce around a little bit. I like Katron Allen more than you, but as I said many times, I think they're like eating running backs I love. So
yeah,
me saying Katron Allen wasn't saying much. I think Rashad White is the guy in that backfield, but it could be Bill Crosby Merritt. It could be Katron Allen. Like, it would not be crazy to take a very good 18th round flyer on Katron Allen and hope that he wins the starting role in this backfield.
Yeah.
It could happen. I don't like Antonio Williams really at all. I think it's a weird pick. He's a slot receiver when you've got Christian McCaffrey's brother there who's been fine as a slot, and what you need is someone outside to eventually replace Terry McLaurin. And in the meantime, compliment him. I do like Joshua Josephs, the edge out of Tennessee. They took him in the 5th round. And I love the center Mac Dolphin that they took in the 6th round out of Michigan State. I think he's very, very good.
All right, let's see. New York Jets.
New York Jets. You want to talk about the New York Giants instead?
The Giants would be a better pick. All right, let's go with them. Great top 3 picks after that. Malachi Fields, where did he come from? Why?
Listen, some people were talking about Malachi Fields belonging in the 1st round. I didn't feel that way.
No.
But a lot of people loved Malachi Fields.
Evidently, they didn't watch Notre Dame football games. But anyway, whatever.
I'm with you. I don't like the pick. I'm kind of shocked J.C. Davis, tackle out of Illinois, didn't go until the 6th round, by the way. But that's a fine one. But the real story for fantasy is just Francis Maui Noah improving the offensive a little bit more. He's a very good, whether he plays tackle or guard. I think he's the tackle. Most people seem to think he's a guard at this point, but I think he's very, very good and should have positive impact for Cam Scott.
All right, let's move on to the Jerry Jones crap show. Loved Caleb Downs. Great pick. But let me ask you this, Foley. If you have a problem with your defensive secondary, why do you draft back-to-back edge rushers?
You know, you've kind of been on this thing from like all off season.
Yeah.
You've acted like their defensive line doesn't need help, especially in edge.
It does. I get that, but there were better. Okay, I know it comes down to me. There were better cornerbacks at the 2nd, and then they could have dipped back down the 3rd pick and got an edge, and then got another edge. You see what I'm saying?
I kind of agree. So, and let's start with the fact that Caleb Downs.
Yeah, he's still awesome. I get that.
He's awesome. And then, okay, so we go to the 2nd pick. I think Malachi Lawrence is a good pick. He's maybe not who I would have picked, but
he's not a first. Yeah, but to me, he was not a 1st round.
I think he was a fringe 1st rounder, which is, I mean, they took him at 23 overall. I think it's fine. Again, it's not who I would have taken with that pick, but I don't hate it. I would have gone defensive line in some form or fashion for them. I mean, remember, they traded away Micah Parsons. They had another, unfortunately, I hate to say it, and I'm blanking on his name, which is really embarrassing because I like the guy. They had a defensive lineman who took his own life during the season last year.
Yeah.
So between those two things, their defensive line, particularly at edge, was really depleted. And yes, they brought in a couple other players, but they need more help. They need young guys. And I think Malachi Lawrence is a decent pick for that. Again, not who I would have taken, but decent for that. Where I criticize them more is the Barham pick in the third round.
Yes.
Where I would have gone for it. I agree with you. The fact that Jermod McCoy was still on the board and they took Jason Barham here that's absurd.
I mean, I guess like you said, looking at it, you kind of the order, I guess, is what I was questioning. I get what you're saying. Let's move on to Philadelphia. What? I mean, I get the lemon pick. I get that. After that, I don't know what we're doing. Other than that, I mean, tell me I'm wrong.
So, I mean, it's interesting. It's a very interesting draft. Obviously, elephant in the room, they're expected to trade away A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
And that makes the Mekhi Lemon pick really interesting. And this is what I want to spend the most time talking about with the Eagles here. And they take Eli Stowers, tight end to the 2nd, really a slot receiver, not a tight end. And Mekhi Lemon is mostly a slot receiver. And you have Jalen Hurts. We've talked about the annoying thing with Jalen Hurts and the Eagles for the last few years is that they only throw outside the numbers. It's all this ISO ball. They refuse to throw to the middle of the field. Well, they're changing that this year.
You think so?
I absolutely think so, and I think they might be going too extreme.
Well, okay. So the problem I have, like you said, the 2 slot, and then you still got Goddard.
You got the Goddard.
I mean, I don't. and Devontae Smith is not. I mean, he's a slot. I mean, I know you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah, like inside out.
So I just
Yeah.
I don't
So
know.
suddenly we have nobody on the outside. It's like Buffalo now, right? And you have this, and like again, I wanted them to do more of that, and they brought in a new offensive coordinator who has said they're going to do more of this, and I wanted them to throw him to the middle of the field more, but not only to the middle of the field with no proof that Jalen Hurts can even do it. Is the reason they have just thrown to the outside so much that is a limitation of Jalen Hurts. That's all he can really. Cam Newton was kind of that way, right? Cam Newton really only threw outside the numbers and really just one side of the field towards the end of his career. Is that just a limitation of Jalen Hurts? And if so, we're making this huge bet on Mekhi Lemon and Eli Stowers and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert being good enough for him, like, or just the investment that they're putting in those four players that might not work out, not because of their talent, but because of Hurts' talent.
So is the only person that will be on the outside Barkley?
Like this is,
I know,
it does look up Devontae Smith for me because he can do some sideline catches.
but it's if Hurts can get it to him though.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's fair. And then that opens up the question of, hey, man, let me just say this. Philadelphia, I think overall has been a good drafting team for a long time. But you know what I really love? Their backup quarterback selection.
Stop! I knew you were going to do this.
Because I loved Tanner McKee, and he's been good. He has been such a good backup for them. And now they draft Cole Payton to compete with Tanner McKee. So if Hurts ends up this year with new system, maybe Tanner McKee or Cole Payton come in.
So what you're saying is Philadelphia doesn't have a number 2 quarterback. Okay, let's move on.
They have two number 2 quarterbacks.
They do not have a quarterback. Anyway.
I'm sorry. Last thing on Philadelphia. This is not fantasy relevant, but it's always funny to me when things like this happen. Lar Bernard, defensive tackle on paper. They draft this guy. He has never played football in his life.
Yeah.
He is just a freak athlete from Nigeria that they looked at and said, we have got to have this guy on our football team. He's 6'4", 306 pounds, and runs a 4.6 40. So they're like, we just need this guy. Imagine how bad it has to feel to be someone like Keyshawn James Newby, who they drafted after Bernard, a guy who also plays defensive line. You've been working for this your entire life. You've been training since third grade to be a great football player. It's all you've worked towards. You put in all these hours, and then some guy from Nigeria who has never played football before
gets
drafted.
I know. That's where I think the whole projection I don't agree with, but whatever. Let's move on to Green Bay, a team that did not acknowledge any of the needs that they actually needed. I mean, they needed offensive tackle, linebacker, a guard, but instead we go for cornerback and defensive tackles.
I mean, they needed a corner.
Oh, excuse me, and a kicker.
Yeah, they needed a corner and they needed an edge, and they got the dentist at edge. So, for people who don't know, Danny Dennis Sutton, DDS,
yeah,
dentist,
just
rusher out of Penn State. They got him in the 4th round. But yeah, I mean, this is an all defense draft.
It was a poor draft to me.
I don't disagree. Yeah, I don't like Brandon Cece very much. Some people do. I don't. I don't like Chris McClellan. I like the dentist just because of his name, but I think he's kind of a sort of mediocre edge. So yeah, I don't like this draft at all.
All right, let's move on. I'm sorry, go ahead.
And I was just saying, and it's not fantasy relevant at all.
All right, let's move on to Detroit, which was, hey, good number 1 pick, and I don't know where the wheels fell off, but that's me.
Yeah, I don't love it. There's only one pick that I love. Look, the Blake Miller thing is fine. The only thing that bothers me is Detroit had already made up their minds before the draft. They're moving oh God, what's his name? The Samoan tackle, offensive tackle. Help me out, you're right. You know what I'm talking about. But played
You
for
know,
Oregon.
Preg. No.
No, the awesome, one of the best tackles in the NFL, plays for Detroit.
Oh gosh, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of it. I know who you're talking about. Sewell. Panay.
Naso.
Yeah.
God, so embarrassing. And they already decided before the draft that they're moving it from right to left. I don't like that. Well, I think the NFL needs to get over this idea that the left tackle is more valuable. It's really not. The Blind Side is a stupid movie, and it tricks people into believing this thing. Both tackles are valuable, equally valuable. Okay,
Hot takes by Foley. Blindside is terrible.
it's an awful movie. It is. It is
Look,
perhaps worst football movie.
Sandra Bullock's Southern twang is the worst ever.
It's so bad. I'm just gonna kidnap this kid for my football team. It's awful. It's so bad. People should not watch that movie. People should hate that movie for moral reasons.
Well, once they found out the truth, it kind of anyway.
The rest was even worse.
I
say all that to say, Panay Sewell is getting moved to the left side, I think unnecessarily. But since that was already a done deal, okay, Blake Miller is a natural right tackle, fine. He'll step in at right tackle. They needed offensive line help, and they got it. Cool. I don't really care about the rest of this, except for I do love Skylar Gill-Howard, defensive tackle out of Texas Tech. I had him actually as the best defensive tackle in the draft. I had him ahead of Caden McDonald even.
Yeah.
No, he's strictly a three technique guy. He's not going to be a stop the run. He's a power rushing kind of or pass rushing kind of defensive tackle. But I like him. I think he's a good pick. The rest of it, I honestly don't care about.
All right, let's move on to the Bears. Once again, I thought great first pick, and then after that was a whole lot of I don't care.
I know you hated the Sam Roush pick so much.
So much. Why? Anyway, go ahead. I know I know. They need blocking people, blah, 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 whatever.
That's exactly right.
Whatever.
You and I both love Dylan Thieneman.
Yes.
And so I think it's a great pick for them. I don't really get the Logan Jones pick nearly as much, but Sam Roush, he is a blocking tight end, and everyone wants more blocking tight ends on their team. It's fine. He wouldn't have been my pick, but whatever. Malik Muhammad, corner in the fourth, fine. I'm with you. This isn't an exciting draft. Most of these drafts aren't exciting. We spent so much time this offseason saying like, most of these players just aren't great. This isn't a loaded draft class outside of a couple of unimportant positions.
Yeah.
Like these are the linebackers, and the rest is just don't care about this. And so now we're here just saying, yeah, I'm not really excited about this draft.
Yeah.
Because that's to be expected. Most teams were not going to be excited by their drafts.
All right, let's move on to San Fran.
Weird.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Go ahead.
I mean, it's so weird. It's Dejon Stribling as the first pick in the second round when Denzel Boston is still on the board. I don't understand it.
Why? Look, I'm with you. Take Denzel Boston. Take Stribling in the third, which he probably would have still been there.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then Kalen Black. Do you know all the wide receivers you could have had? I mean, all the running backs you could have had, but you get Black? Anyway, I don't know.
It's weird, man. I like the Romello Height pick. I think he's a pretty good pick, especially in the third round. But Stribling I add him as kind of a mid wide receiver. But look, you got Mike Evans, you got Ricky Pearsall. If you want one more, it should have been Denzel Boston, and just move on from Stribling. So I do have to criticize the player evaluation here. A lot of times when we do this stuff, I'm like, okay, I don't agree with the exact player they picked, but I understand the process.
Yeah.
This is one where the player eval is just too wrong for me. It's bad process at that point. But hey, I mean, maybe Stripling can be good. I think he'll be better next year than this year. I think with Mike Evans there, though, it kind of puts a damper on him.
All right, let's move on to Seattle. Hmm. Hey, I was right on our mock draft. It just wasn't Jonah Coleman. It was Jadarian Price, which
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like any of them.
I like Bud Clark, their safety to get in the second round. That's about it. I mean, look, here's the thing. Price is going to get a workload. Zach Charbonnet is hurt. He'll probably come back before the season is over. But the first half of the season, Jadarian Price will probably be alone in that backfield. And so even if we don't like the talent, he's on a good football team behind a good offensive line, and he'll have a lot of work. That's really interesting. The only problem is you're going to draft him and you're going to be excited about him. And then there's going to come a point where Zach Charbonnet comes back and suddenly this isn't as exciting. So maybe the move to do, listeners, is draft Jadarian Price and then trade him in like October. Yeah.
Yeah, just watch how the healing factors go. You got anything else on them?
No, I don't, unless you have strong feelings about Daniel.
No, I don't. Do we just have one more team?
I've lost.
I know. Well, I was leaving them to the last. That's the reason I took the NFC last. Let's talk about the Rams.
Nope, that's not the little team I was thinking of.
Who are you thinking of?
The Minnesota Vikings.
We'll get back to them. Okay, never mind. Let's go to Vikings, and then we'll go to Rams.
Yeah, it's another not interesting for fantasy draft, right? Thanks.
It was so awesome that we had to talk about it, but then you don't want to talk about it. I just knew you had something like you were fixing.
We're ready to go all 32 teams.
I just knew you were fixing to tell me that Max Brenderson was awesome. So
he's an awesome blocker. He was my number one blocking tight end. So hey, that.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
But I like Big Citrus. Big Citrus, the
Orange,
the defensive tackle out of our state. Yeah, Dominic Orange, Big Citrus. He's cool. Caleb Banks out of. I mean, you're a Florida guy. What do you think, Caleb Banks?
It's okay. I wouldn't have took him at 18, but
I wouldn't have either. What I'll say about Banks is like if you just watch the highlight tape, he looks like Chris Jones. His highs are so high, but then he just disappears and he can't stay healthy. So there's a lot of work that needs Caleb Banks. But you put him and Jake Golden and Dominic Orange all with Brian Flores. I get excited when you just get freaky athletes on Brian Flores' defense because I love him as a coordinator. Anyway,
all right,
my take.
Back to the Rams. And this is where I will end how bad this draft was. Ty Simpson. I get you want a quarterback. I get that. But not that early. Not when you have a Super Bowl team, a team that's able to get to the Super Bowl. Why do you not get another weapon, defensive or offensive, to help? And instead you go for a backup quarterback who's going to sit for at least 1 year, maybe 2.
So what makes this difficult to talk about is that neither of us like Ty Simpson. So again, this is where it's like process versus evaluation of the individual player.
Or nepotism.
Nepotism stuff too. But let me ask you this. Were the Packers wrong to draft Jordan Love when they still had Aaron Rodgers, and maybe Aaron Rodgers could have had a wide receiver that could help them compete for a Super Bowl?
I mean, I know what you're saying, but I mean, we're still talking about the Rams who, for years, threw away everything to win now, and you just totally threw that up in the air, and you go with Simpson now. That's it. Be one way or the other. I don't understand. Anyway, whatever. Simpson, what What round? What pick was he? 13 or 14 or something? Dumb.
Okay.
Dumb. But whatever.
I mean, look, because I don't like Ty Simpson, I agree with you. Because I don't like my evaluation just of him wasn't strong, I agree with you. But if they had done this for a quarterback that I liked, I would have been like, hey, that's really smart, you know? Because I mean, think about it. This time a year ago, we weren't sure if Matthew. I was talking about, is Matthew Stafford going to pull an Andrew Luck and retire preseason
You did say that.
because it's backed up? So it's not crazy to launch a succession plan. Now, I honestly don't know how I feel about this because I can also take the other side. And if we go back with Pittsburgh towards the end of Ben Roethlisberger's time there, and Pittsburgh was a team that did not have a succession plan, right? But let's say 2019, they say, okay, look, we don't want to end up in this world where a few years from now, Ben is gone and we feel like we have to take Kenny Pickett because we just don't have anybody, right? Let's say they're proactive enough to try to avoid that. We're going to take a first round quarterback in 2019. And you know, the next quarterback on the board was when they picked in 2019, Dwayne Haskins. All right.
Wow. Went real. You went real dark right there, but okay.
Well, I know, but my point is, and look, R.I.P. Dwayne Haskins, he was on my first championship team in this league in 2019. Shout out to you, sir, up in heaven. Um,
Oh wow.
but he wasn't a good NFL quarterback. We can say that about the Jet. He wasn't good. And so the Steelers could have said, you know what, we're going to try to be forward thinking. We're going to take Dwayne Haskins to be the heir apparent to Ben Roethlisberger. And all that would have happened was they didn't take anyone else that year with that pick. And they still end up in this position where a few years from now, we're having to take Kenny Pickett in the first round because we just need a quarterback because Dwayne Haskins wasn't good and then he died. So, you know, all I'm saying is,
Don't die, Ty Simpson.
all I'm saying is what the Rams did here and what the Packers did a few years ago is genius if it works out, and it's stupid if it doesn't. Because if it doesn't work out, then yeah, maybe you just missed out on a championship because you could have brought in Mekhi Lemon as an extra weapon, or you could have brought in Ruben Bain to go along with Jared Verse and the rest of them on the defensive line, and maybe that would have put you over the top to win a Super Bowl. But if Ty Simpson does work out, then they're geniuses. They have their next quarterback, and they never had this off period. So I don't know, man. I have a hard time deciding what I think about it, besides the fact that I just don't believe in Ty Simpson.
I, I'm going to go do it.
And they drafted another tight end, Max Clare.
I give up. Anyway. Yeah. All right. You got anything else before we get out of here?
No, happy basketball season to those who celebrate. Maybe we'll soon we'll have some like way too early rankings probably, but maybe I'll share some best ball tips on our next podcast so that you can have that to carry.
Yeah, and sorry to nerd y'all out with all these draft picks, but hey, we enjoy it. All right. I will see you guys later, Foley.
I love you.